Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent English with Podcast. I'm Anna.
And I'm Peter. We are so happy you're here with us today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast app.
That's right. Every week, we're here to help you improve your English in fun, real-life ways. And today's episode is extra special because we're going to talk about something we all experience every single day.
Feelings. Happiness, sadness, excitement, nervousness. All those emotions that make us human.
And here's the thing. Learning how to talk about your feelings in English isn't just about vocabulary, it's about connection. When you can share how you feel, you can build stronger relationships, have better conversations, and even take care of your mental health.
Exactly. Think about it. When a friend asks, "How are you?" most of us just say, "I'm fine." But what if you could actually express what's going on? You'd be opening the door to deeper, more meaningful communication.
And the best part, we're going to make this lesson super easy for you. By the end of this episode, you'll know basic feelings vocabulary, more advanced words to sound natural, and even some fun English idioms that native speakers use every day.
Plus, we'll give you tips on how to ask others about their feelings and how to respond in a way that shows kindness and empathy.
But before we get started, just a quick reminder. If you enjoy learning with us, please hit the subscribe button, give this episode a like, and share with a friend who's learning English.
And leave us a comment below. We'd love to know how you're feeling today, and maybe even the last time you felt super excited.
All right, let's dive in, starting with why talking about our feelings is so important, especially in English.
So, Anna, why is talking about our feelings so important? I mean, for some people, it can feel a little uncomfortable.
Oh, definitely. I think many of us grew up thinking we should keep our emotions inside. But the truth is, expressing our feelings is one of the best things we can do for our mental health.
Exactly. When we talk about how we feel, it's like opening a window and letting some fresh air in. It helps release stress and makes it easier to process what's happening inside our minds.
And here's another big reason, communication. When you express your emotions clearly, people understand you better. Imagine if I say to you, "I'm really happy today." Immediately, you get a sense of my energy and my mood.
Or if I say, "I'm feeling a bit sad today," you might respond with, "I'm sorry to hear that. Do you want to talk about it?" And that opens the door to connection.
Exactly. It's like building a bridge between people. Talking about feelings helps us connect more deeply with friends, family, and even new people we meet.
And it works the other way too. If we don't express how we feel, people might misunderstand us. They might think we're upset with them when really, we're just tired or stressed.
Right. And for English learners, there's an extra benefit. The more you practice talking about your feelings in English, the more natural your conversations will sound. You won't just be learning words, you'll be learning how to connect in a new language.
So in today's episode, we'll give you the tools to do exactly that, from basic vocabulary all the way to idioms and expressions that make you sound like a native speaker.
And we'll even share tips on how to respond when someone else tells you about their feelings, because that's just as important as expressing your own.
All right, so let's start with the basics, the everyday feelings vocabulary that will help you in almost any conversation.
These are words you'll hear all the time, so it's important to recognize and use them.
Yes, and we'll give you examples for each one so you can imagine when you might use them. Let's begin with an easy one. Happy.
Happy is that wonderful feeling when something good happens. When you're smiling, laughing, maybe dancing around, that's happy. Example, "I'm so happy to see you."
The opposite of happy is sad. This is when you feel down, maybe you want to cry, or you just don't have much energy. Example, "I felt sad when my best friend moved away."
Another common one is angry, when something upsets you, and you feel frustrated or even want to shout. Example, "I was angry because the bus was late and I missed my meeting."
Oh yes, I've been there. Next is tired, when you don't have much energy and you want to rest or sleep. Example, "I'm tired after working all day."
Here's a fun one, excited. This is a happy, energetic feeling, often before something fun happens. Example, I'm so excited for my holiday next week.
And then there's scared, when something makes you feel afraid. Example, I felt scared when I heard a strange noise at night.
Finally, for this list, nervous, when you feel a little afraid or worried, usually before something important. Example, I was nervous before giving my first presentation in English.
So that's our basic list: happy, sad, angry, tired, excited, scared, and nervous. They're easy to learn, but they're super useful because you can use them in almost any conversation.
Exactly. And don't worry about being perfect. If you can remember these, you can already express a lot about how you feel.
Now, once you're comfortable with these basics, we can take things a step further with more specific and advanced feelings vocabulary. Sometimes happy or sad just isn't enough. You need a word that's more precise.
Yes. The first one is frustrated. This is when you're trying to do something, but it's not working, and you start to lose patience. Example, I was frustrated because the internet kept cutting out during my online class.
Oh, I've been there. Next is overwhelmed, when you have too much to do, too many things to think about, and you don't know where to start. Example, I felt overwhelmed by all the homework I had this week.
Here's a strong one, anxious. This is similar to nervous, but more intense. You're worried about something, maybe even imagining all the bad things that could happen. Example, I felt anxious before my big job interview.
Now for a positive one, proud. This is when you feel happy about something you did well, or something someone you love has done well. Example, I was so proud when my little brother graduated from university.
Another one we all feel sometimes is lonely. This is when you feel alone, even if people are around you. You just wish you had someone to connect with. Example, I felt lonely after moving to a new city where I didn't know anyone.
Next, confident, when you believe in yourself and your abilities. You feel strong, ready, and sure you can succeed. Example, I felt confident during my presentation because I had practiced a lot.
And finally, disappointed. This is when something doesn't happen the way you hoped, and it makes you feel a little sad. Example, I was disappointed when the concert was canceled.
So, with these words, frustrated, overwhelmed, anxious, proud, lonely, confident, and disappointed, you can describe your feelings in a much richer way.
Exactly. And in English, having more precise words makes your conversations sound more natural and meaningful.
Next, let's talk about something that makes these feelings even more expressive.
You know some great vocabulary now, but in real life, we often want to show how strong a feeling is.
Yes, and in English, we do this by adding words before the feeling. These are called intensity modifiers.
For example, if you're just a little happy, you can say, I'm a bit happy or I'm slightly happy.
If you're very happy, you could say, I'm really happy, or I'm so happy.
And if you're super happy, like the happiest you've ever been, you might say, I'm extremely happy, or even I'm absolutely thrilled.
Let's try another one. Take the word frustrated. A little, I'm a bit frustrated. Medium, I'm quite frustrated. Strong, I'm really frustrated. Extreme, I'm absolutely furious, which means extremely angry.
Here's a tip. Some adjectives already have strong meanings. For example, furious is already stronger than angry. So you wouldn't say very furious. You'd say absolutely furious.
Exactly. And this is something that really helps your English sound more natural. Knowing when to use words like really, very, completely, or absolutely.
And remember, you can also soften emotions. Saying I'm a little nervous is different from I'm extremely nervous. This helps people understand your exact feeling.
So, when you talk about your feelings, think about two things: the right word and the right strength. Combine them, and you'll sound fluent in no time.
Now let's make it fun. We're going to play a little speaking challenge, so you can practice describing feelings with different intensities.
We'll give you a few seconds to think before we share our answers. You can speak out loud if you're alone, or whisper if you're on the bus.
Okay. Scenario 1. You just got great news. You got the job you wanted. How do you feel, and how strong is the feeling?
You could say, I'm so happy, or I'm absolutely thrilled.
Scenario 2. You've been waiting for your friend for 30 minutes, and they still haven't arrived.
Maybe, I'm a bit annoyed. Or, if you're very upset, I'm really frustrated.
Scenario 3. You're about to speak in front of 200 people for the first time.
You might say, I'm a little nervous. Or if it's really intense, I'm extremely nervous.
Scenario 4. Your favorite sports team just won the championship.
That could be, I'm so excited. Or, I'm absolutely over the moon.
And remember, the more you practice saying these out loud, the more confident and natural you'll sound.
Yes, speaking practice is key. Even if you're just talking to yourself while walking your dog, it counts.
All right, let's wrap up with a quick review and some final tips to help you master talking about feelings in English.
First, we talked about common feelings in English, like happy, sad, nervous, and excited, and when to use them.
Then, we looked at intensity modifiers, words like a little, really, and absolutely, to show how strong your feelings are.
We also practiced together with real-life scenarios, so you could match a feeling with its strength.
Remember, talking about emotions is not just about vocabulary. It's about communicating clearly how you feel. That helps people connect with you and understand you better.
So, here's your homework. Choose 3 feelings from today and try using them in real situations this week. You can even write them in a short journal entry each day.
And if you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who's learning English.
You can also check the description below for a free practice worksheet with today's vocabulary.
Thanks for spending time with us today. We're really happy you joined.
And we'll be absolutely thrilled to see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.